Morning. I'm going to have you pull that microphone up close to you.
Yeah.
Okay, we can hear you much better then.
Yeah.
All right. You're doing well. Thank you.
Thanks.
So, first of all, I'm going to swear you in, so I'd ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, under penalty of perjury, that you will truthfully answer all questions about your qualifications to serve as a juror?
I do.
All right. Thank you. First of all, I think there was an indication that you had a concern you wanted to express to the court. Is that about a language, or
Yeah.
could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I'm not speak too much English.
Okay.
So, I don't know if I'm able to be here.
Well, let me talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I read certain concepts of the law while you're sitting out there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you understand what I was saying?
I understand, but
Okay, you said, but were there problems with some of the terms that I used?
some word, but I understand.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So.
Do you think that you, and I'm glad you brought this up, so I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that this might be a problem for trial, that because we will have expert witnesses and a variety of people talking about different things, do you think that might be a problem absorbing everything and understanding all the evidence?
I understand, but the only I know what I see in the TV, and
Okay. I guess what it comes down to is every juror should consider all the evidence. And if your language, speaking English, is good enough that you could understand it, that's great.
Oh, okay.
But also if you feel comfortable expressing your opinion in a jury room, that's also important. So, do you think basically what you've heard today from me in the instructions and in filling out your questionnaire, that you understood the English language well enough to proceed as a possible juror?
Yeah, I understand. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But
All right.
not like 100%.
All right, thank you. All right, well, let me turn to a couple of questions before I turn it over to the attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
First is, do you believe, now thinking back, you filled out the questionnaire, was everything on that true to the best of your knowledge? Like, is there anything you wanted to change or add to? Because sometimes people will fill out the questionnaire,
Mm-hmm.
and then they realize when they get here, oh, I should have probably said this or that, and that's normal. It's not like you're going to get into trouble because you give a different answer, because you are sworn under oath today. It's just a question of, is there anything you wanted to modify or add? Because maybe you had a thought that, since you filled out the questionnaire. Anything? Or is it pretty much accurate as it was?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much accurate?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Now, the court has instructed you right from when you got the questionnaire not to read any articles or watch any media about that, and that was true when you got the questionnaire. Sometimes inadvertently you might see a headline or someone might talk about it with you, maybe giving you something you didn't know about the case since you filled out your questionnaire. From the time you filled out your questionnaire and sent it in to today, is there anything you've learned about the case? And I'm not saying that you did so intentionally, but maybe, like I say, see a headline, hear some people talking, that gave you more information about the case. Do you think that that's happened?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you learn since you filled out the questionnaire?
The questionnaire when I don't know. I mean, because I had time to read and.
Okay, yeah, if you could slow down just a little bit. The court reporter is taking everything down. And I'm going to have you take off your mask just to make it a little more. That's great. So you read an article? Or,
Yeah.
okay, what do you recall the article? What was the substance of it? What did it say? What information did it give you?
About the case for the George Floyd,
Okay.
how died, and I think it's doesn't fair because the guy he asking for he tell the guy I can breathe, so and he's still on top in her neck, So I think also the people who was with him, why don't say, hey, no, don't do that, because you're gonna kill. So I think it's not good.
And is that something you read after you filled out the questionnaire?
Too many questions.
Or before?
Too many questions,
Yeah.
I read.
But this newspaper article where you got this information?
No, I send the TV.
Okay.
I'm working and I have to take care of my kids. And I don't have too much time to be in those things. So just what I see on the TV, but
Okay.
I don't have time to read newspaper or not. Just like what I saw on the TV.
All right.
So.
What it comes down to is it's just about everyone has seen or read something. The question becomes, can you put all that aside? Because as a juror, you have to decide the case just on the evidence you hear in the courtroom. Do you think you could do that?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't speak too much English, and
Okay.
I don't want.
Okay. Did you recognize any of the witnesses?
On the TV.
Or on the list that we gave you?
Just one name right here is Korean. I don't know where he's from. I remember the TV, the name.
Okay.
Chinese or Korean, I don't know where he's from.
And what was the name you remember?
It's right here. Sorry. Can find.
While you look for that, I'm going to talk to the attorneys. So you can keep looking, and I'm going to talk to the attorneys. Sidebar, please.
So think it's Tao to Tao.
Tu Tao?
Uh-huh.
And do you actually know that person or just?
No, just I saw on the TV.
Okay. Just like what you've read in the media or something?
Uh-huh.
All right. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Nelson, and he's going to ask you some questions. So if you could continue. Now, one of the things that happens when we're doing jury selection is as everyone talks to each other, we sometimes get into a habit of being conversational, which is okay, but conversations that are informal, we talk over each other, we say mm-hmm or mm. We need yes or no, and not to talk over each other. And the lawyers are just as guilty of it half the time, so about talking over each other. So I'll try and control that part, but make sure you try and wait for the question to be finished and then give the answer. Mr. Nelson, if you would.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you can go to the podium.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you today?
Good. Thanks.
So before I go too much further with my questioning, I just wanted to ask a couple of follow-up questions first on what the judge was asking you about. Would that be okay with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So just remember, we need to use words in the courtroom because everything is being typed down, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for being here today. The judge asked you some questions. It's my understanding you indicated that you had a concern about your language.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you say what it is more specifically, because you seem to be doing very well answering our questions. What are your concerns about your language?
Well, I understand, but sometimes I afraid to say the wrong word, but most of the time.
Most of the time you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. In terms of this case and the testimony that you hear during the course of this case, you're going to hear testimony from a lot of different type of people, okay?
Okay.
So you may hear from police officers, and you may hear from citizen witnesses, people who saw what happened, but you may also hear from doctors, right? People who have used big words a lot. Would you be concerned about your ability to understand what a doctor or an expert witness might say?
Just a concern?
Concern.
No, I think
Okay.
I'm going to understand.
So if they're using medical terms, you'd be able to understand that?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
So your language, I think, is pretty good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I just have so I'm going to ask you a series of just some general questions before I ask you some specific questions about what you wrote in your questionnaire, okay?
Okay.
So my understanding, ma'am, is that you received a notice from Hennepin County telling you that you were going to be a juror, or you could be a juror in a case, right?
Yeah, they sent me the questionnaire.
With the questionnaire?
Mhm.
Okay. What was your first response to when you read that letter and the questionnaire?
My first, I say, why me? Because it's
That's-
first time, and so I don't know, But I try to fill out the questionnaire because I say I don't know if I had to be there or because it's first time and I'm working, I
Okay.
had 3 kids, so I say I don't know if I'm gonna have time,
Okay,
but I'm gonna try.
great. So your first thought was, if I understand you correctly, is why me, right?
Hmm.
Is that a yes, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. As you were filling out the questionnaire, and it was asking you specific questions about this case and your perceptions about this case, did it concern you more because of the nature of this case versus other cases?
Yeah. Hmm.
How so?
I say that that case is just only I know because I saw on the TV. You know,
Right.
I wasn't there. And,
Okay.
So
I understand you weren't there, but does the profile of this case concern you?
say again.
So there are lots of, maybe I'll rephrase my question if that's okay. There are a lot of types of cases that come to court. Sometimes it may be someone steals something from a store, right? And nobody knows, nobody ever hears about it, right? But this case has been in the news a lot. You would agree with that? Is there anything about the fact?
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Sorry. Is there any? But this case has been in the news quite a bit, right?
Yes.
Have you only seen one news story, or have you seen many news stories?
No, like I said, I'm so busy at work and, you know, I'm housewife. And sometimes when I had time, I turn the TV and I saw and most this case because just in the TV, you know, every day.
Every day.
And
And even since you filled out this questionnaire,
I had like they say, oh, why it has to do that, you know? I mean,
so let me, because you're saying something I think very important here, and I want to make sure I understand. Okay. You saw some videos about what happened. Is that correct?
yeah, the news.
On the news. So you saw a video that many people have seen of the arrest of Mr. Floyd. Yes?
Second when,
So did you see a video of Mr. Floyd being arrested by the Minneapolis Police Department?
oh yes,
Yeah. And what I think you said is you had a reaction to that video. Would that be correct?
yeah, I saw when that guy put his, I don't know, leg or knee on the, you know, so he can breathe,
Okay.
and he asking for,
And did you form an opinion about what you saw? Is that a yes?
yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, it's very awkward. It's not like real life. What was the opinion that you formed when you saw that video?
My opinion is when he tell the guy I can breathe, and he still do that, you know. And I remember when I saw another police around him, and I said, why don't say, hey, don't do that because he's gonna die. So I said, why? Just, you know, what I feel, that's not fair because we are humans, you know. And he said, hey, I can breathe. He was on top on him, so he doesn't. He can move. He was on top, so.
Okay. So your job, if you were to be selected as a juror in this case, would be to hear all of the evidence in this case. Do you understand that? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you may see that video again in this trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
But you may also hear or see other videos from different angles and different perspectives. Would you be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. The question then becomes, if you see, are you willing, let me rephrase this, are you willing to examine all of the evidence to make a determination about this case?
Yes.
The opinion that you had before when you first saw the video, would you be willing to change that opinion if you find other information out later?
Well, it's true, you know. Yes.
What is true?
It is true, whatever evidence.
Okay. So, again, I need to we have to be very clear here, okay? Would you be willing to re-examine your opinion today if you see other evidence that change it? Would you allow it to change your mind?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, I'm going to just ask you some more general questions, if that's okay. All right, just a little to learn a little bit more about you. Okay.
Okay.
So let's pretend that you and I met each other at a party rather than a courtroom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just tell me one or two things about you that you would want me to walk away knowing about your life?
You want to know about me, you say?
Yeah.
Like
What's important to you in your life?
my family.
Okay. Can you tell me a little about your family? No names or anything, but just tell me, do you have children?
Yes, I have 3.
Okay.
My oldest, he's 25. My second one's 17. My little girl's 8. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And have you talked about the fact that you're coming here today with your family?
No, just my husband.
Just your husband?
Mhm.
Okay. Have you told any of your friends that you were going to be here today?
No, just my manager.
Just your manager
At work. Mhm.
at work? Okay.
Mhm.
Did you tell anybody that you filled out this questionnaire?
No, just my husband and I.
Okay,
Mhm.
just your husband. Did your husband help you fill out the questionnaire?
Yes, because like I said, my English is buried, and I understand, and but my writing,
So
not good.
okay. So your husband actually wrote the answers here?
No, I did, but he helped me some questions.
So he helped you read the questions?
Mhm.
Is-
Yeah, and sometimes I look for the translation, and I write the answer.
Okay, so you had to actually use a dictionary to look up a word that you
Yeah,
didn't know?
Google Translation.
Okay,
Mhm.
Google Translation.
Hmm.
Now, there were certain questions on the questionnaire that you did not even write in a response to. Do you remember that?
It's too many questions. Okay, I don't remember.
Okay, and did you keep a copy of it?
No.
Okay. So, I think we've talked a little bit. The first question was what you remembered or what you had heard about this case, and we've talked about that somewhat this morning. So, but you didn't answer that question in the questionnaire. Was that because you didn't understand it, or?
Yeah, if I didn't, it's because I don't understand.
So if you did not answer a question, it was because you didn't understand the question?
Yes.
So let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, just in terms of your language, how good do you think your English is? 1 being bad, I don't speak any English, and 10 being I'm wonderful at English.
No, I'm not wonderful. I don't know.
You don't know?
7.
7? That's good.
Just say 1 to 10.
1 to 10, yep. Okay,
8.
7, 8.
Mhm.
All right. So for work, you work as a nursing assistant?
Yes.
Okay. And do you work with many clients?
No, labor, deliver, maternity.
Okay, maternity?
Hmm.
Okay. But you do have 3 kids, right?
Yes. Hmm.
So can you think of a situation where your kids had an argument with each other? Did your kids ever argue with each other?
My older, he's very nice. Also, he has learning disability,
Okay.
but he's wonderful kid. And my second one, he's 17. He's in high school, and he's so quiet, and sometimes he's angry because they have a lot of homework. Sometimes he don't want to talk to him because he's busy and on the computer all the time. And my 8 years old, she's not good at math, so she said, "Ma, I need help with math." But I said, "I'm from Mexico, and in Mexico they teach different than here." So I try, but my husband helped him more because he likes math. My husband, I don't like. He need a lot of help. My baby girl.
Okay.
In school.
So your family sounds lovely and wonderful, and
Thank you.
I guess my question is, have you ever had to resolve a conflict between your children?
Conflict? No.
Okay.
Like you said, they fight. I mean,
Well, it could be physical fighting, or
No, mm-mm.
what about yelling at each other?
no. I teach. They are brothers and sisters. They need to respect each other. No.
Okay.
Thanks God, no.
So,
Sometimes my second son and my little girl, my little girl they try to play with him, but my second son is very reserved. He focus on study, not play. So, but thanks God, they never hit each other or argue. No.
okay.
It's-
So outside of your family, can you think of a situation where you were asked to settle a dispute between two people?
Say again.
Resolve or fix two people who are arguing with each other?
If I sat outside and
In any way, like if at work,
I work,
or at home, or in your extended family?
I work. No, in my family, no. I work just when my coworkers they match mad, angry. I have one friend, and she told me, "You always speak for your rights, and if you have something problem with the person, go speak to her." But I don't see people at work fighting.
So what I'm trying to, I guess, and maybe I'm not asking it clearly enough. What I'm trying to understand is how would you decide? Because in a trial, right, there's two sides against each other, and your job as a juror is to decide what are called the facts of the case. What happened, right? Who's telling the truth? How do you do that in your personal life, and how do you think that would help you be a juror in this case?
Well, in personal, to be a juror,
Would the court like to inquire further?
Would the state like to inquire? No. Mr. Slusher, did you wish to approach?
I do wish to inquire.
Okay, you may.
We have a sidebar here.
Okay. We're just gonna talk, so
Okay.
you can just, hold on.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry about the interruption. Can you think of a situation in your life where two people have told you a story about an incident, and one person says, this is what happened, and another person says, no, this is what happened? Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of a situation like that just in your head?
Yes.
And these two people are telling two different stories about the same incident. Okay? How do you determine, what tools would you use to determine which person is telling the more accurate story?
It's a hard question because, like you said, I need to see this and the other person. So
I guess
I need to see who is telling the truth.
and how do you determine who is telling the truth?
How? With evidence.
Okay, good. Now, in terms, again, of the concept of evidence, right? You're going to hear a lot of evidence in this case, right? You're going to hear from many witnesses, you're going to see many pictures, you're going to see all sorts of evidence, right? How would you rank the importance of what you see? Like, what's better evidence in one sense in your mind than other types of evidence?
Like I said, I'm gonna speak how I feel, like inside, how I see the things, and
Okay. In terms of one answer on your questionnaire, I just have for you. The question asked, why do you feel that you want to be a juror on this case? That was the question. And you wrote, because I would like to give my opinion of the unjust death of George Floyd. Do you remember writing that?
yeah, I think.
What did you mean by that?
My opinion, like I said, where I sat, I said, why he do that? Why the guy, he's shocking.
Okay. So you made a determination in your mind, you made a decision already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you see evidence from a different perspective, are you willing to change your mind?
Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your Honor, if I may just have a sidebar.
We're going to actually excuse you, so you're released from your jury service. You don't have to check in with the jury office or anything like that. If you have your yellow lanyard and the letter, do you have the letter with the number on it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just take that. You can leave it on the stand there.
This one
And,
here?
right, and then you can go with the deputy. Thank you for taking the time to
Thank
fill out
you.
the questionnaire and to be here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, Greg. Greg, hold on. All right, just for the record, we had sidebar conferences in which defense made a challenge for cause. State responded and opposed that cause challenge. I think it was primarily based on her English proficiency. I denied the motion for cause basically because I did not appear that it was the language per se that was causing difficulties. It was more she's not a sophisticated witness or a sophisticated juror, but that's true of native English speakers. And so I did not think that that was a proper challenge for cause. But given that there was some concern about her lack of understanding of legal terms, which again, not so much language, but just her sophistication, I could see why a defense peremptory would be exercised, and it has been. So that is defense peremptory number 1.